is in somewhat, some social engineering going on here. There's a lot of dots to connect to make that happen. But I'm just giving you a broad example of how
finding the right people to fight at the right time, he monopolized the business. But the problem was, it only made him money and the people he was fighting. It didn't make money for the whole sport. So what he did himself a great job, but it hurts.
To do that, he had a 1-year suspended jail sentence in 2004. And then he was arrested again for a bouncer at a nightclub, getting another 90-day suspended sentence. Then was arrested for up his ex-girlfriend, Josie.
During a candid interview, Ice Cube delivered a scathing critique of the American justice system and its connection to corporate power. The rapper-actor didn't mince words as he pointed out what he sees as a corrupt cycle, claiming that the same wealthy individuals who write paychecks are also the ones funding prison construction. According to Cube, when celebrities like Floyd Mayweather find themselves entangled in fraud allegations, it hardly matters in the grand scheme. His argument suggests that the powerful elite control both the punishment and the profit. In his view, the entire system is manipulated and rigged from top to bottom. Cube emphasized that this goes far beyond personal grudges or industry beef. He positioned his commentary as an exposure of just how deeply entrenched and far-reaching this corrupt game truly runs.
People who own the labels own the prisons.
Literally the same people?
Literally the same people. It seems really suspicious. The records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s heavily publicized $42 million real estate acquisition in New York City has recently come under intense examination from financial journalists and property experts. Although Mayweather publicly announced that he had purchased over 60 buildings throughout Upper Manhattan, official property records tell a different story. These documents indicate that ownership has not yet been legally transferred from the previous property holder, Black Spruce Management. This discrepancy has led industry analysts to speculate that Mayweather may have actually secured only a minority interest in the properties, with contractual options to potentially expand his stake at a future date, rather than acquiring full outright ownership. Mayweather's real estate company, VA Properties, has remained notably silent on the specifics of this transaction. This lack of transparency has generated considerable skepticism regarding the deal's legitimacy and whether it represents a serious investment or merely a strategic publicity maneuver. Adding another layer of controversy, Mayweather has publicly acknowledged Jonah Renitz, a convicted felon with a history of federal corruption charges, as a key supporter in his business operations. These revelations have raised serious concerns about the accuracy of Mayweather's public statements and the potential damage to his carefully cultivated reputation. With crucial details still unavailable to the public, observers continue to question the true nature and extent of Mayweather's participation in this $42 million property transaction.
Floyd, I hope the $402 million ain't left his bank account yet, then. I remember Floyd was on a talk show, I think 50 Cent posted that as well. And he said something like, they say, if you know how much money you got, then you don't really got enough money. So they say, if you know how many buildings you got, then you ain't got enough buildings. Como? Who told you that? I hope your real estate broker or investor, whoever handles this real estate, I hope they ain't tell you that.
Floyd Mayweather's personal conduct has been marked by numerous legal encounters spanning his adult life, including multiple arrests and criminal convictions. In 2002, a court found him guilty of 2 domestic violence charges and 1 count of misdemeanor battery. The judge handed down a 6-month suspended sentence along with mandatory community service requirements. 2 years later, in 2004, Mayweather received another suspended jail sentence, this time for 1 year, along with court-ordered counseling following his conviction on 2 counts of misdemeanor battery against 2 separate women. The following year, 2005, saw Mayweather enter a no-contest plea to a misdemeanor battery charge stemming from an altercation with a bouncer. This resulted in a 90-day suspended jail sentence. In 2010, Mayweather was arrested once again for a domestic incident involving his former girlfriend. This led to a 90-day jail term, community service obligations, and mandatory participation in a domestic violence intervention program. More recently, in 2018, he reached a settlement with the Securities and Exchange Commission regarding allegations that he failed to properly disclose payments received for cryptocurrency promotions. These repeated incidents have significantly affected his public standing and sparked ongoing discussions about athlete accountability and the consequences of misconduct in professional sports.
Exception was Floyd Mayweather, who called up Will Smith every day for 10 days straight, with Will Smith saying that the only reason Floyd Mayweather called was just because he wanted to make sure he was okay. And Will Smith said before that he only met Floyd Mayweather a couple times before, calling him an acquaintance, but now would call him a friend for life. I don't think Will Smith should be saying this because Floyd Mayweather was arrested in 2002 for punching two women at his nightclub. And due to that, he had a 1-year suspended jail sentence in 2004. And then he was arrested again for assaulting a bouncer at a nightclub, getting another 90-day suspended sentence. Then was arrested for beating up his ex-girlfriend Josie Harris, which his son, when he was 10 years old, testified against his father, saying he was assaulting his mother. So Will Smith is not a bad guy, but clearly made a mistake at the Oscars, and it's not a good idea for him to go befriend Floyd Mayweather.
Boxing legend Roy Jones Jr. delivered an unfiltered critique of Floyd Mayweather's lasting influence on the sport during a recent interview. Jones argued that Mayweather fundamentally altered boxing's competitive culture by shifting the primary focus from building a championship legacy to maximizing personal financial gain. While acknowledging Mayweather's substantial earnings, Jones contended that the boxer's success benefited only himself and his opponents rather than elevating the sport as a whole. According to Jones, Mayweather transformed boxing into a personalized, money-generating enterprise that offered little to support other fighters or advance the sport's broader interests. He hurt the sport, Jones declared emphatically, pointing to how young fighters today prioritize financial rewards over achieving greatness through competitive excellence. In Jones's estimation, Mayweather's legacy will forever be defined more by his financial accumulation than by genuine boxing achievement or championship glory. This perspective has fundamentally changed how the newer generation approaches the sport. Jones's statements carry significant weight as they come from a fellow boxing legend who clearly prioritizes athletic integrity over commercial spectacle.
Not because he did a great job, but he did it for himself and it worked for him. But everybody now wants the Mayweather concept because Mayweather made so much money, staying undefeated, waiting till the right time to fight Pacquiao, finding the right people to fight at the right time. He monopolized the business. But the problem was, it only made him money and the people he was fighting. It didn't make money for the whole sport. So what he did himself a great job, but it hurt the sport because not everybody wants to fight, stay undefeated. You understand me? Me, it's like when two guys get here, they gotta meet. Wait. They was here 5 years ago. Yeah. They should have met. You understand me? Because now we probably could have got 3 good fights out of it. You understand me? But because we waited too long, the problem what people don't understand is tomorrow's not promised to nobody. Guess what?
Floyd Mayweather Jr. has consistently promoted his real estate ventures to the public, frequently asserting ownership of numerous skyscrapers and an extensive property portfolio across multiple cities. During a 2021 interview at the WBC convention held in Mexico, Mayweather made a bold claim, stating, "One of the buildings I own is the tallest commercial building in America." He was specifically referring to One Vanderbilt, a massive 93-story skyscraper located in the heart of New York City. However, subsequent reports have contradicted this assertion, revealing that Mayweather actually invested $50 million in the project, representing only a minority stake rather than controlling ownership. More recently, Mayweather announced a $42 million deal to acquire 62 rental apartment buildings across Upper Manhattan. He confidently asserted full ownership of these properties to the media. Yet once again, property records fail to support his claims. Official documentation does not show any transfer of ownership from the previous owner, Black Spruce Management, to Mayweather or his affiliated companies. These repeated discrepancies have fueled widespread skepticism regarding the actual scope of Mayweather's real estate holdings. Although he continues to publicly promote these investments as personal achievements, the mounting evidence of inaccuracies and a lack of transparency in his dealings raise legitimate questions about the authenticity of his various assertions.
First investment was real estate, commercial real estate, skyscrapers actually. So what I did was this. It started off with $5 million. Put up $5 million, I was getting $50,000 a month. On every 18th, every month it was paying off.
You like the cash flow?
Yes, for years. So I said, okay, if it's paying off like this then, and I gave him 7 figures, I said I'm not gonna even give him 8 figures. I went and gave him 9 figures. If it's something that I know is paying off, lucrative and heavy, I got to go with it. Roll the dice, take a chance. You only got one life.
An investigative report from Business Insider revealed that Mayweather possessed only partial ownership in these so-called properties, prompting accusations that he had misled the public about the true nature of his holdings. This revelation has prompted a broader reevaluation of his previous real estate claims. If the $42 million deal was not what he represented it to be, observers are asking how much truth actually exists in the rest of his proclaimed empire. Mayweather has carefully constructed his public identity not simply as a championship boxer, but as Money Mayweather, a persona defined by constant displays of wealth and success, regardless of whether those displays reflect reality. He is well known for flaunting his riches across multiple platforms, showcasing luxury automobiles, private aircraft, and now commercial skyscrapers. Yet the discrepancy between his claims and documented ownership has raised doubts about how much control he truly exercises over his alleged assets. Many observers believe Mayweather deliberately cultivates this extravagant image to provoke jealousy and maintain his carefully crafted public persona. He has publicly expressed that everyone should have a stake in New York City, presenting himself as both prosperous and philanthropic. However, critics maintain that these gestures are more performative than substantive. This persistent pattern of exaggeration raises fundamental questions about what portions of his portfolio are genuine and what elements exist solely as carefully manufactured components of his brand.
I didn't buy New York, but I feel like everyone should own a piece of the earth. And I feel like you can't go wrong with New York real estate. So what I did was, in one of my portfolios, because I don't know the exact number, because they said if you know how much money you got, you really don't have no money. So if you know how many buildings you got, you don't really have no buildings. So I think I own right now somewhere upwards of 100 buildings or more. And in 99% of my buildings are in New York City.
Wow. You donated millions of money and buildings to victims of the LA wildfires. And I saw that. That was a cool thing you did.
I feel like if you're in a position to give back, why not? You know, we have a great team.
If Mayweather genuinely possessed the immense wealth and success he constantly boasts about, commentators have asked why he would involve himself in questionable dealings, such as failing to pay for expensive jewelry and accumulating debt obligations while in Dubai. In 2021, Mayweather and rapper Tyga collaborated with a watch broker to acquire luxury merchandise, including premium timepieces and diamond jewelry from Miami-based jeweler Leonard Sulyanov. However, despite making initial deposits, the pair allegedly failed to complete their payments. This prompted Sulyanov to initiate legal proceedings in August 2024. The resulting lawsuit claims that Mayweather and Tyga collectively own nearly $4 million. The legal filing accuses them of fraud, breach of contract, and violations of the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, among other civil claims. This case represents yet another instance where Mayweather's financial ethics have been called into question.
That's how Floyd Mayweather and Tyga might get away without paying $4 million in jewelry. So a lot of wealthy people buy assets or luxury items under business entities. This allows them to pay less tax while also having protection against lawsuits personally. In this case, Tyga and Floyd used a watch broker and some upfront cash to make the deal go through. But as the days passed, no payment was made on the balance that was due, and even their agent admitted they owed $4 million. So what these two did is they signed and paid dues in a business, and then before paying the full amount, gifted it to themselves on behalf of the business that bought it. Therefore, the broker can't go after Floyd or Tyga because they didn't buy it from them personally. A business that they may control bought it and then gifted it to them, but in this sense is completely separate. But what they did is how the rich get richer. Us in our daily lives have no protection from lawsuits, but as soon as you use a business, the laws completely change. So I'm not saying you should do this or that they'll even get away with this, but it's definitely an interesting way to get expensive jewelry cheaper.
Mayweather's financial dealings have repeatedly raised ethical concerns, particularly regarding his relationships with business associates and fellow entertainers in the industry. Despite his publicized wealth, Mayweather has faced criticism for allegedly leaving contractors and business partners to bear financial burdens. Figures including Logan Paul and 50 Cent have publicly accused him of outstanding unpaid debts. Critics have questioned why someone with such claimed vast resources would permit his reputation to suffer over relatively modest sums of money owed to others. This issue became particularly apparent when Mayweather was asked why he chose to fight YouTube personality Logan Paul rather than a credible professional boxer like Tyson Fury. His response was remarkably candid. Logan had more followers. This answer stood in stark contrast to the competitive fire that once defined Mayweather's athletic career. Sports commentator Stephen A. Smith observed that this response represented a fundamental shift in Mayweather's priorities and approach to boxing. According to this analysis, Mayweather had abandoned boxing for legacy or competitive challenge and instead was pursuing attention and financial reward. This represents clear evidence that his focus had transformed entirely toward monetary pursuits. Floyd Mayweather once stood as the highest-paid athlete in the world, earning respect across multiple industries. His name became synonymous with strategic planning and financial achievement. However, emerging revelations about his financial activities are beginning to undermine his previously unshakable reputation. Questions are multiplying about his extravagant lifestyle and whether it rests on solid financial footing or is instead built on a foundation of mismanagement and exaggeration. The man who once proudly displayed his wealth now finds himself facing unprecedented scrutiny. His legacy is increasingly vulnerable as new stories challenge the narrative of his flawless career and supposed financial expertise. These developments have created a growing perception that Mayweather's carefully constructed image may not reflect reality.
Floyd Mayweather, the highest paid athlete, not the highest paid boxer, the highest paid athlete in the world. I had the opportunity and pleasure to be around him for many years. I was his personal shopper. I was a personal friend of his family. One of my greatest memories of being just lucky enough to even be around that environment was watching him train. Watching Floyd Mayweather train is a masterclass in discipline. It is a masterclass in work ethic. It is a masterclass in this is how you execute and get stuff done. Every rep, he hits it hard. There's not one lazy rep. He does everything at such a high frequency, so elevated. I'm like, goodness gracious, watching this man train, it's like, that's how I want to train for life. I've been to the club with Floyd where we leave in the club 3-4 in the morning and he's still going to hit his 6 miles. He'll have all the cars follow him and he's running down the Las Vegas Strip, down back.
For many years, Mayweather has proudly displayed his enormous wealth through spectacular purchases, including a $1.8 million timepiece that impressed even the most established celebrities and industry figures. His lifestyle has appeared as an endless exhibition of luxury, with extravagant automobiles, private aircraft, and opulent residences accompanying his every public appearance. Yet as new financial information comes to light, these same symbols of prosperity are now undergoing intense examination. What was previously interpreted as unambiguous evidence of success is beginning to generate doubts about the long-term viability of his fortune. Observers are left wondering whether all that glitters is genuinely gold. Mayweather has devoted years to boasting about his wealth and exhibiting his luxurious lifestyle whenever possible. However, as his financial position appears to weaken, the factors behind his struggles are becoming increasingly evident. Financial analysts point to excessive spending patterns combined with questionable investment decisions as contributing factors to his current difficulties. In what appears to be an attempt to counter rumors that he is facing financial hardship, Mayweather has continued to claim ownership of multiple properties, despite sources disputing these assertions. While he has long promoted his independence in both boxing and business affairs, this approach appears to have backfired. His decision to operate without professional financial advisors has led to questionable decisions, highlighting the significant risks associated with managing substantial wealth without proper guidance. This situation serves as a cautionary example of the dangers inherent in self-directed financial management without expert input.
Who negotiates those deals?
Me. Well, you gotta. I'm a little different from every other athlete and entertainer because I keep 100% of the revenue. That's never been done before. I'm my own boss.
There's no manager. There's no agent.
No.
There's no pimp for Floyd.
No.
Wow.
I have a team. And I guess I'm lucky.
So you're negotiating that transaction yourself.
Well, exactly. This is how it works. They know my number because I've already before